Welcome to the Swiss Alps of the U.S., Ouray, Colorado, a place not just rich in rugged beauty, but rich in history as well. In the San Juan Mountains, at the center of a natural amphitheater, is the town of Ouray. The Indians found this location very appealing through the summer months and into the fall. In the late 1800s, others would find this imposing bowl appealing for a different reason: gold.
Ouray is one of the early mining towns in Colorado, and some of the first settlers that came here were three people who came over through Silverton, and they thought we should come back here and explore for gold. So they did, and in 1875 they came back. They began to build cabins, and what happened to their visitation, it drew a lot of other people here, and at one time there were 3,000 people in town.
With every boom in history, there's a bust. Ouray was no different. Once the rush was over, the population went from 3,000 to under 400. But Ouray was sitting on something more lasting than gold: tourism. Each year, tourists flock to this quaint little town to take in the spoils of this jewel of Colorado, just as the miners did over a century ago.
Ouray is one of those towns that you don't see chain stores.
There's nothing around here that really says it's a modern community, but yet they'd have the modern amenities.
Ouray offers a more unique mountain town experience. You have your hiking, biking, and fishing, but tack on ice climbing and hot springs to dip into, not to mention hundreds of miles of trails that take you into the stratosphere. Ouray has over 300 trails, from hiking to off-road, that connect Ouray to neighboring towns like Silverton and Telluride, and some of the world's most untamed wilderness.
It's not something you're going to take a passenger car over, and some long wheelbase pickups are going to have troubles on some of the turns, but fabulous for Jeep.
Some of them were pack trails, some of them were exploration trails.
Each trail has a history. They had a purpose, an adventure around every turn. There's no better way to access some of these adventurous trails than with the Jeep Jamboree.
The Jeep Jamboree experience is a great way to get your feet wet in off-roading. In fact, I would recommend it. I think if you're just going to go out there by yourself, you might be a little bit intimidated by some of the obstacles that you might come across.
An event like this attracts people from all over the world.
We are very happy to come here.
Happy to have you here.
Yes, we travel a lot. We came from Brazil.
No way!
Yes.
Awesome!
Not a whole lot of off-roading offered in the Louisiana area other than near St. Francisville.
How are you guys doing? From Texas.
I left Boston in June. I've been to Boone, North Carolina, Hot Springs, Arkansas, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Lake Tahoe, Sacramento, California, Deadwood, South Dakota, and Ouray, Colorado.
From newbies to veterans, the goal of the Jeep Jamboree is to make it memorable for everybody.
Okay, so your Jeep's set up to be able to handle it.
The California pass.
After a quick inspection, then trail selection.
All right, well, the harder ones are down here. He said I shouldn't be doing this one because...
Which one is that?
This one is the Poughkeepsie Gulch Trail.
Let me tell you about Poughkeepsie because I'm the tail gunner on it. If we had something like what we just had, we wouldn't do it because of safety reasons.
There's a range for everybody. You know, if you do go through Animas Forks and stuff like that, pretty easy. But they have challenges. Poughkeepsie Gulch is challenging. It's technical stuff, you know, so whether you're lifted or not, you are going to have to navigate your way through it.
Now we go back to our hotels and sleep on it, hoping we made the right decision.
Good morning, everybody. How you doing?
Nothing beats a good morning meeting. Reminders that Ouray's trails might not be known for their obstacles. There are unforeseen elements that could ruin your trip.
This is Colorado. Obviously, we're about 7,800 feet right now. You're going to go up to at least 12,400 today. Some of you will go over 13,000 today. Colorado features, believe it or not, a very dry climate. You will perspire and you'll have absolutely no idea you're perspiring. because what happens is the perspiration evaporates out of your pores the instant it hits them. Very, very common to get dehydrated in this area.
From a lack of oxygen to 2 parts hydrogen, there's also a thing called gravity. If there's one place you can fall to your death, it's Ouray, Colorado.
My tips for someone who's going to come here to Ouray and drive is don't mind heights, don't get freaked out because the roads are pretty stable, don't go by yourself, and be responsible, respect the trail, and don't go over the edge.
The staging ground for the Poughkeepsie Gulch Trail, we air down and we're on our way.
You guys ready? You guys ready for the trail today?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you scared?
No.
I see fear.
We travel along Highway 550, the $1 Million Highway. Why is it called that? Perhaps it was a passenger on the stagecoach, not accustomed to heights, jumps out at the toll gate and walks back to Ouray exclaiming, "I wouldn't ride over that road again for $1 million." These roads were the veins that would keep Ouray's economic heart beating long into the future.
Beginning of the Second World War, they needed a lot of zinc, lead, copper, so forth. So what they did is they turned some of the old trails into roads. And those roads are the ones that you've been driving.
We take the Alpine Loop turnoff, which takes us up into the trailhead for the Poughkeepsie Gulch. The Poughkeepsie Gulch is one of Ouray's more challenging trails. It's also the route that word spread of the riches to be had in the amphitheater just north of Silverton in 1875. By going this way, prospectors avoided Ute territories, staying close to civilization. It doesn't take long before we come face to face with Ouray's ambitious past. Like an old Buick on the side of the road, abandoned mines are riddled across the landscape.
There's all kinds of relics from the mining days, and you look at them up on top of the mountain. There's boilers that they use to make power, either steam power or whatever for mining. How did they ever get a boiler up on top of the mountain? To me, it's just a mystery of how they did a lot of this stuff.
Greed is an ugly word, but without it, there would be no Ouray. And without Ouray, there would be no out-of-this-world Jeep trails. These trails at one time would have to be cut out to make some hole in the mountain that may or may not make some rich. Most of the time, it was a bust, and it was a big gamble. But the folks at that time were willing to take that risk.
And the only reason people came here at first, the white man came here at first, was because of the gold and silver veins that were being found. And the Ute Indians occupied this area, and the Ute Indians were basically pushed out of here by the white man and the greed.
History has it, the one man stood between the wheels of industry and the destruction of the Ute tribes that called the Uncompahgre Forest home. His name was Chief Ouray.
So when the government wanted to pick up more land from the Indians, they'd come see him and say, "We'll give you so much money, give you land over in Utah or Nevada if you'll leave the miners alone." Because this was closed to mining when the miners first found the gold. What happened to Chief Ouray? He saved a lot of white men's scalps and probably a few Indians by convincing the rest of the tribe that they would give up Ouray and other lands and go west. And that's where they are today.
Chief Ouray to this day is still a two-sided coin. Some people think he's sold out, while others think he's a savior. After a long, muddy slosh, we finally make it to the trailhead.
You are here. So from here on up, we're basically going to. That just made me really nervous. For some reason. Sorry.
Besides the constant climbing elevation, there is one thing to be nervous about. It's what gives Poughkeepsie its bad reputation: the wall. But before we get to that, let's take a moment to seesaw. As we make our way up to the wall, one has to wonder, did we die and go to heaven? It's one awe-inspiring vista after another. With the rain, we are literally driving up a waterfall. Empty mine shafts remind us, people at one time would risk life and limb to strip what ore they could from these mountains.
You get to feel how people lived in the past, and you understand how difficult it was for them compared to where we are today, and you have a greater appreciation for what it took for people to occupy this land.
Poughkeepsie's reputation starts to raise its ugly head. Trail guides start to earn their money.
Right!
Through my investigative research, I have learned that nobody wants to be strapped out. When it happens, they'd like to keep it to themselves. We finally reached the wall. At first glance, the obstacle looks completely doable. Each and every contestant knew, in their hearts, that their Jeep would be the one that finds the perfect line. In the next few moments, they'll all be eating humble pie.
We're going to strap you up. You want to strap it? We're going to strap you.
I watched one after another try and fail. If AJ got it done with 40-inch tires, my 37 should make short work of it.
AJ's gonna lead my way.
Okay, not so easy.
Did I hear laughing?
Trying the line to the right got downright tippy.
All right, boy.
And again resulted in a no-go. The 2 strikes and you're out rule applied.
Oh, they're winching me. I didn't make it. I failed.
And I was thankfully strapped out.
My favorite thing about off-roading is probably the challenge, especially when you're doing things that somebody would look at a trail that you're about to ride and shake their head and say there's no way that I'm going to make it down that. I mean, sometimes I even do that. And then you get to the other side and you look back and you feel like you accomplished something.
Can I break something? Woo! Done!
Pictures do not do this place justice. You have to come out here and see for yourself the beauty, the history of this area. It's just magnificent.
Truly awesome. Scenery's gorgeous. Yeah. Can't better scenery anywhere in the world.
After the wall, our final obstacle is elevation. In a Jeep, you feel like the Starship Enterprise, boldly going where no man has gone before.
For me, it's not just about off-roading. It's kind of been a ticket to go to all these places that I never would have dreamed that I'd end up even going. And I'm seeing these parts of the country that I don't think most people will ever see. And that's pretty cool.
We pass Lake Como and make our way to the corkscrew turnoff.
It's nothing like getting up to 12,000, 13,000 feet and being able to see for hundreds of miles.
We make our way back down. It becomes clear with the proper motivation, anything is possible. No one embodies that more than Otto Mears, pathfinder of the San Juans. He had the tenacity and the willingness to adapt. He even went so far as to learn the language of the local tribe. He worked with Chief Ouray negotiating the Brno Treaty. He overcame any and all obstacles. He connected Ouray to the outside world. You need a road? Done. How about a bridge? Done. Need an intricate system to turn a train around on a mountainside? No problem.
It's the historic corkscrew turntable that Otto Mears built back around 1890, and it went across and connected into the railroad in Silverton. It's the only turntable on a main line in the nation. They used to, bring the ore cars up here and turn them around and then take them back down, and it was a way of getting the ore from Corkscrew Gulch over to Silverton.
He created a rail system that reduced freight costs, enabling mines to stay open longer in times of falling ore prices. He put Ouray Colorado on the map. The $1 Million Highway is a monument to his achievements. Once again, we're on Mears' $1 Million Highway, heading towards Canyon Creek, just on the outskirts of Ouray. Here, another ambitious gamble would pay off and keep the town of Ouray humming well into the future.
The real wealth was silver to begin with. People came in because they found more silver, and they didn't recognize the tellurium ore that was in the black sand.
Unbeknownst to the locals, there was gold in them thar hills.
Tom Walsh came. He came out of the Black Hills to Silverton here, and he was a miner and developer. And he found out there was gold in the black sand that's up the Canyon Creek. So he brought up all the claims surrounding the find that he had up in the basin up there. And that's the thing that really made Ouray. And they worked all through First World War, Second World War, and so forth. A little bit of zinc, lead, copper in the ore, and they could put that to the war effort. But that's what made the town.
There's a lot of buildings here that are holdovers from late 1800s, back when this was nothing but a mining town. And the whole existence was to support the mining that was going on up in Camp Bird and the other mines that were around here. And it's just a great place to come and bring your family and kind of you just start in town, and then when you go up into the rich history of the mountains around it, you get to see and feel and live history.
Since the 1870s, the value of silver was steadily dropping. By the 1890s, the silver boom was at an end.
Well, in 1893, the U.S. government took out the subsidy that was paying good money for the silver. It's called the silver crash. So many people who were still mining for silver here ended up without their major production. But that's when Walsh's gold mine, which had a little bit of silver in it, made the living for the rest of the people and all the other smaller mines around here.
Our climb up to Yankee Boy Basin is cold and wet. The weather here can change on a dime, which can make your climb to the top very interesting.
today we went up to 13,000 feet, and we were at 60 degrees, here in town. Then we went up to 13,000 feet in the middle of a snowstorm.
I know that some of the trips for today were canceled because of the change in weather, and I believe in erring on the side of caution, especially when you've got first-timers, and we've got a lot of first-timers on this Jamboree.
You can see as we make our slow climb why they advise you never to do this alone.
We were in sunny skies to start, rain, and then snow at the higher elevations. And I like that. I was really somewhat surprised by that. But the being from Louisiana, seeing the snow, that was awesome.
My wife just said, she pretty much told me, we won't do this again if it's snowing, period.
The weather turns to our favor. We have time for one more trail, Governor's Basin. Think of the hard work to cut roads out of these mountains, the loss of life. It was a different time and a different place.
All these places that these miners went in the late 1800s, early 1900s, using pack mules and horses, dragging equipment up into these 12 and 13,000 foot peaks so that they could try to make money. We now get to enjoy those same trails with our Jeeps.
The different greens and the reds and the browns all mixing together. It's unbelievable. There's no place else like it that I know of.
There's nothing to compare this to. You have to be here. You just have to come out here and see that. You just can't describe it. You have to come out here. It is the most beautiful area in Colorado.
Listen, a 3-week stay here in Ouray is not going to be near enough time to take in all that this town has to offer. It's a definite repeat location, and each time you're going to experience something new. When we reach the top of Governor's Basin, there's no other word to describe it but breathtaking.
Breathtaking covers a lot of things. It'll take your breath away when you start sliding to the edge. It's breathtaking when you look and you see over here, snow-covered peaks. Over there, a green valley and clear skies. And you can catch it all in one picture.
I've been on other Jamborees, about 7 total. Wasn't really too overwhelmed by obstacles, but we were here for the scenery, and we definitely got a great dose of scenery here.
It's a natural Disneyland, and for Jeepers, it's absolute heaven. I'm Brooke with TeraFlex. Thanks for watching.